Hi everyone, welcome to the Rookie Analyst Microsoft Power BI for Business Intelligence course series. In our previous lesson, we've been able to transform and model our data, and today we're going to visualize the data that we've already transformed. And we are going to have a report like this at the end of this lesson. So feel free to download the dataset, and if you've been following us previously, all you need to do is the datasets the data we've already cleaned in Power BI, which was saved, you can just click and then you pick up from there, or you can download the already cleaned one, that the PBX file, and then follow up. So let's dive right in.
As you may have already known, once you open your Power BI, the first thing you're going to see is going to be a blank canvas, and you need to get your data into Power BI. In the previous lesson on transformation, we have transformed our data and then from Excel into a Power BI data format, which is a PBIX. So we can easily import that data by just coming to File and then Open, and then you check Recent. Or better still, you could go to the folder where you have the PBIX saved as, and then you just double click, and then it automatically opens on Power BI. So you can see it's loading. And once this open, we can see the transformation we've done in the past. We can even revisit it, correct one or two things, and then we can start our visualization. Now we have our data we've gotten our data into Power BI, and you can see this is the branch info, we have the customer info part, and then we have our sales data. So when you look at this, you can also open the Power Query from this particular interface. So you can just come over to here and click on transform data, and it brings up the Power Query editor. And at the same time, you could just here to have a table view and then have a overview of the data in each of these tables. We have the customer here. You can click on this and it shows you all the data, and then you see what actually needs for the cleaning. Like you could recall in the last lesson, we only cleaned the region in branch info. We didn't clean that in customer info. So today we're going to just quickly use replace values, which is one of the features in Power Query Editor that we didn't check the last time. So we're just going to use that. We're going to use it to further clean the data, and then we're going to start visualizing our data. So now next is also, we can see our relationships here that we've already built, which is our data model. So now let's start visualizing. So first, I'll usually like to start by inserting a text box, and the text box is just to show the title of the data we want to visualize. So let's insert a text box. So for the text box here, you just type. So we have this is going to call Tip Top Taste Restaurants. Tip Top Taste Restaurants 2022 sales reports. And then we just gonna do a bit formatting. We're gonna increase this. We can increase the font. Yeah, once we increase our font, yeah, you can do additional things to this. We could decide to just drag our text column here. We could just drag it here to be, we can centralize this, bring it down the middle, and then we can decide to just insert our logo. So let's try and do, if you have a logo, we insert the logo, Rookie Analyst logo. So you come over to insert, and then when you click on insert, you're going to see image. So you click on image, and then it takes you to the folder, and then you select the logo. And once you have that, you can adjust it as much as you like. So we can just do this. So we have this here. So we can get started already. So now we can start visualizing our data. So one of the things we would like to see is to see the cost of each product, for instance, right? So that, but normally what I advise people to do is you should take a look at your data and then see if they're actually in the format that you want them to be. So like if there's a need for further cleaning. So let's start with the cost. As you can see here, when you have a value, cost is actually numbers, right? So if it is a number, you should see the sign, a kind of summation sign here. So we can click on this cost here, and then you see a properties of the column. So now this is the column tools. It's telling you the name of the column here is cost, and then it's telling us the data type and the format is text. But let's see the kind of data that is actually in this. So you just click on this table, and then you select this cost, and you see this is numbers. So we would like our numbers to be in the currency, is it dollars, or is it naira, or is it pounds? And also we want it to not appear as text. So how do you change that? So normally these are the kind of things you're supposed to have done. We are supposed to have done while we're transforming our data, but we left it on purpose for us to understand better. So you can just do that right from here, and then you can just select here, come to data type, and you select, do you want it as a whole number, and then or is a decimal number. So we want it as a whole number, then we select it here. And then this change, you notice the change here. We have a change of sign here, which shows that this is a number. It shows some. So if you should select this time around and then want to see, you can see now it's showing us something that is going to be visualized. And let's convert this to table, and then you see it shows us a number. So it's telling us sum of cost. Initially, it's going to be count. So at the same time, we want to check. Now let's do product. So we select our product here, and then we'll select cost. So you can see it's showing us the sum of cost. If we had not changed this data type to whole number and it's still appearing as text, then it's just going to show as count. So we could do that again so that you can see. So or we'll do that with another with the revenue. So let's try with revenue now. So we have our revenue. Let's product here, and then we have our revenue. Let's just select our product. We select your product here. We can drag this here, and then we have our revenue here, and you can see this revenue is showing this. So if you decide to do maybe a calculation, or you want to visualize this data and convert this to a bar chart, you bring the revenue here as x-axis, and what you can see here is telling you what count of revenue, but that's not what we wanted. We wanted to be in sum of revenue. So we're just going to change this also the same way. We're going to remove this, and then we're going to remove this. So we're going to change the data type of this also to we can change it here at the same time to whole number, and then automatically it changes correctly. Just the same thing as what we have, just the same thing as what we have for sum. And once you do this, you see the sign appearing here. But here I'm going to show you how you could do it from. So I'm going to change this back to text. Then I'm going to go to query, Power Query Editor, and we're going to change this. Obviously, there are other things that needed to be changed here. As you can see here, also date. So we need to change this date to date format. So we can, it's still text, right? That's why you have it here. So we're going to change it to date format in our, we're going to do that in uh, Power Query Editor. And also, we're going to see how to replace values in Power Query Editor. So when you look at this branch info data, no, not for branch info, when you look at this customer info data here, so you can see the customer name here, the region. You can see when you select the region to visualize, you can see here we have South, which is empty. We have Southwest. So these are no uniform. So we're going to replace value. So we're going to have uniform just 4 regions as what we have here in branch info. As you can see that. So we're supposed to have just 4 here in region in branch info. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 regions. So we're going to transform this quickly. And another thing is when you look at your product, so let's just do a visualization quickly. When you look at our product, this is our product, and we decide to look at the costs of those products. We're going to select this now. So you can see where we have ice cream and we have ice cream. So this is also ice cream. So this is a typo. And then we're going to see how we're going to fix that quickly. Then we'll start visualizing our data. And believe in me, visualization is one of the most interesting thing about data analysis. Visualization part, and after visualization, when you're presenting what you visualize. So now let's quickly open our Power Query Editor by just coming over to transform data, and then we click on transform data. And once we click on transform data, we're going to have all our data that is going to appear here. So all we need to do is go to the data, the table we want to make our changes. The first one is on customer info, and this is where we want to make our changes. As you can see, this is Lagos. So definitely this is supposed to be Southwest. So we're just going to come over here, click on the column, right click, and then you see what is called replace values. So once we come to our replace values, we're going to say value to find. What value do you want it to, what value do you want to look for in the column in the region in the table? So we look at this value to find is south, and want to replace south with southwest, and we want it to match all entire cell content. So we click on OK, and automatically this changes. But take note, remember this is also south dash west. So just do the same thing here also, and then we're just gonna do south, and then we have west, and then we'll replace it with south west. There are many other ways that are even more efficient that you could do this, but This will suffice because we're not dealing with a large data set and for the scope of this course. So next we also want to do for this not sent is definitely not central. So we want to replace this also, and then we'll come to replace values, and then we're going to value to find is going to be not sent, and the next is going to be not. Here we have not central, not central, not central. So click on OK. So now this here is clean. So we come back to our sales data. Remember in the product we have ice cream. So we're going to do the same thing, replace values. And then what we're going to search for is ice cream. And then we're going to replace it with what? Ice cream. So we come to advanced here and then we match all and then we click on OK and we're done. So that's all we need to do. Then the next thing we might want to do is here. What we want to do here is to change our format. This is date. So just click on this and it's going to see, you see date time, and I wanted to show date type. So I wanted to show date, so we select this date and then you can see it shows the calendar, meaning the data type has been changed to date. So we can also do that from within Power BI visualization pane the same way we did for the cost. So cost here, we can already do that here also. We can just do this now, cost, and then we want it to appear as a whole number, right? So we click on whole number, and at the same time we want to, if we want to add yeah, so this we've done this already. So next is we want to do the same thing for products. Okay, I think that all for revenue. Yeah, we want to do the same thing for revenue. So let's change this and then wool number and then this change from ABC to 1 to 3. So now our data is fully cleaned. So next we'll just close and I apply our changes and we are good to go. Now you notice that revenue here it's having the summation sign, right? And then here. So we're good to go with our visualization. So now let's start our visualization. The first thing we would like to see is the total cost of each product. So all we need to do is just select our product and then we select the cost. So once you select here, it's going to appear as a table. But we want to have this in a bar chart or in a more appealing visual. So let's select a bar chart, right? And automatically Power BI changes and this shows. So from here, and then when you hover your mouse over this, you're going to see it's going to show you the product and some of the costs. So we can see that Tip Top Taste restaurant made the total sales of, when you look at this, it's 8,750 for pizza. But what currency? So we need to make changes to that. So you come over here and then you select here. You can see here we have currencies here. So let's select dollars and then we'll put this in dollars. And then the format here changes to currency. And once we do this, it automatically appears in the visual. So it's $8,750. So you really need to have your data in the right format and in the right type for you to be able to make meaning out of it. So these are our first visuals. So we're going to have multiple visuals also before we now start to see how we can customize the colors to look really beautiful. The next visual we'd like to add to this report is to see the sum of revenue that has been generated by region. So remember we already have the customer info, the branch info data connected to our sales data. So this is the importance of data modeling. So when you already build a relationship between these data, then they can communicate with each other more like kind of cross filter. So now the first thing we want to do is we want to see the revenue. So we're going to select our revenue here. And then next we want to see it by region. So we select our region and we can see this as a bar chart already. So this chart here shows that we have more revenue that has been generated from Southwest, and when you hover on the bar chart we're going to see the exact amount and in form of a tooltip. But we would like to present this in form of a line chart, for instance. So we could just if you want it as a bar chart with the line chart, or we just want it as a line chart, so we'll just do this as a line chart, which is better. So with this line chart you could see here it shows us we could even use this to filter other ones, right? So it's called kind of cross filtering. But at the end of this we're going to insert a slicer, which we're going to use as slicers to interact with all of this dashboard. We're going to make this dashboard very interactive. So now here we have our sum of revenue. But another thing we might want to do is that we may just want to have a total revenue. So let's try and see. We can add a card field. There's what is visual called card field in Power BI. So it's here, it's called a card. So once you select our card here, so I had to undo that because I'm putting over the visual we already have. So before you create another visual, it's best you click on the blank canvas so that when you now select your card field, it's not going to change what you've already done. So we select this and then we selected some of our revenue here, and then we have it in form of a card field. You select your card field, and this is what card field is. So the card field just shows, it should just show like the total number. So if we have our profit, we can also do that for profit. But remember, we don't have profit in this table. So how are we going to do that? So we can decide to add a new, we can just play around with this later on. So we can just create a new table. We can add a new column either from Power BI, from Power Query, or we could even create a new measure. But now we'll deal with Power Query. In the next lesson, we're going to have DAX, where we're going to create measures. So let's do this in Power Query. Remember, profit is what? Your revenue minus cost. So let's load Power Query here. Come to transform data. And then this is our sale data. So what we want to do is I want to add a new column. And then it's going to be a custom column, right? So this custom column, what we want to do is I want to have a new column which we'll call profits. So we have this, we'll call this profits. And this profit is going to be our cost. We're going to be revenue minus cost. So here all you need to do is just select the revenue and you click on insert, and then you put a minus, and then you go over to the cost. Where is the cost here? So you select your cost and you click insert. You can as well double click and it automatically appears here. So you watch out here where it tells you whether error has been detected in your syntax or not. And assuming you want to do a more sophisticated, you want to write a more sophisticated function, and you don't know, you can just learn about Power Query formulas here. That takes you to a page where you see almost all the formulas that you can use in Power Query. So once we click on OK here, it automatically add a column here that subtracts the cost from the revenue, which is our profit. And once we close this here and we apply, we already have the profit appearing. So it's done. So we'll have a new column here called profit. But remember, in our Power Query, we didn't remember to put this as a whole number. So we can just do it this right away from here, and then we'll put it a whole number and we'll click yes. And at the same time, we're going to select our profit is in dollars. So we just select dollars here, and then it changes. So we have this here. So let's now want to do the next one. We want to do the profit. So this is our profit, and we want to calculate the profit by the branch also, because this is a regional report, right? So by region, so we want to select our region here. So we have this our profit here. So this is a profit. So we may decide to represent this more like a form of a tree map. You can feel free to explore. So you could just do a tree map. We could just select a tree map for this. And once we have this tree map here, we have this. So you can also use this to even filter the whole of the report. So you see this? So once you select this, it automatically changes here. It shows us the sum of revenue that was generated. So this is the profit. So $86,000 was the profit that was actually generated from the revenue of 1,600. So you can as well just decide to just leave it as a bar chart, or you can convert this to a pie chart. It all depends on what you want, right? So next we can decide to add another card field here, and then we have card field of our core profit. So we had this here, so this is our profit. So you may just want to use this, and then we have our profit right here. We have our profit right here, and then we have our revenue here. We have our profit right here. So let's do this. We can adjust all of this as much as you like. We can just come over here to visual to check the properties, and then if you don't want the category label to show, we could just remove the label here, or we hide it up. So we're going to come to customizations later on. So let's just continue adding our visuals, then we'll come to our customizations later. So let's see, which other visuals do we want to see. Let's say we have our dates here, and we want to see let's say this is the date. For instance, let's see our date. This is the month January and all of that. So let's say we want to see the profit in each month alongside the revenue, maybe. So you can see here, you can see the profits in each month. And if you don't want this to break down and you just want to see in form of quarter one or quarter two, so let's just say we remove our year here, and then we remove our month here, and we remove our day here, and we have just quarter one, quarter two. So look at this here now. So this shows the profits in each quarter. So this is profits by region. Now I want to see the profit by quarter. So usually we have quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. That is the 12 months in a year divided by 4. So that's the quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. And this is some of the profit. We're not, if we're not interested in the revenue, we're just interested in the profit, how much we actually make in each quarter. So we could just have this like this. And then we could decide to present this in form of a pie chart. I think, yeah, pie chart may be cool with this. Although I usually like bar chart a lot. So you could just do pie chart with this, and then we can change this to, we can change this pie chart to something as the previous pie chart. We could change it to a bar chart, for instance, or we could even use a, could try, you could just play around. Let's use this here. So we're going to use this here for the sum of the profits. And then here we have sum of profit by quarter. So this is just for quarter, quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. So let's see, can we add one more visuals before we now start customizing this? And then, so let's try, we can put this here if we like, or we could just, so let's see, what else would you like to see? So this is just mini data, and then we have visualized the really most important things, right? But the next thing we might want to do here is to add a slicer. So what does the slicer do? So we know we have our customer name here. So let's select our customer name. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We know we have just 7 customers that buys our products. So we want to see, we want to be able to filter the whole of the report with the customers. So all we need to do is just to insert a slicer, and there are many ways for you to insert a slicer. You can either first of all, you can select the data you want to use as a slicer to see how it appears in the table, and then you move it, and then you look for where your slicer is. This is your slicer, and then you convert this to slicer, and it shows slicer. Or you can as well just click on a blank place, you click on slicer, and then while this is selected, you select customer name. It's all going to give you the same result. So either ways, you just do it as much as how you like it the most. So now this is a slicer, you can see. So once we select Aliyu, for instance, now it filters to show where Ali is. We can see that, oh, Ali is a customer from Northwest region. And at the same time, once we select this filter, it also shows the product that Ali has bought so far. You can see Ali has bought pizza, he has bought chicken, he has bought ice cream, he has actually patronized almost all of our products. And when you hover on each of this, it shows you the total sum of costs of this item that Ali has bought. And it also gives us an idea of the profit. So now you can see here now the keyword field, this slicer filters everything. So you can see here Aliyu contributed to about $45,000 of the total sum profit. So let's untick this now, and you see, so we have $300,000 that we've made in profit, and Aliyu has contributed to about 45%. That's contributed to about $45,000 of all the profit, as you can see here. Can you see? So next we may decide to just play around with this. We may decide to just do a kind of customization. You may even decide to, let's transform this our slicer. We can just transform our slicer to something different. This is slicer settings. If we don't want it as a vertical, we can just make it to appear as a tile here. And when we have this as a tile, is a tile that we could just select. You can see, so people could just select this, and if you like, we can make it to be drop down where people just have to select the customer name and then you select this. So depending on your need, you can just decide on whichever way you want. So this slicer settings, so we probably, let's make it a tile, and then we come to selection here. Do you want to multi-select? Yes, so that means we can select, we can view Aliyu alongside with Femi, and you can see here we can also do as much you can do many other things you like with this. So next, the next thing we may want to do is to probably edit this. So if you want to edit or you want to customize your visuals, you want to select the visual you want to customize. You come under visualization, you see here where say format your visuals. So this way you do all the formatting you need to do. For instance, if you want to um want to remove the grid lines, you do this and then the grid lines disappear. So if you want to leave the grid lines, you can leave it. So you want to take it up, you take it out. If you want to have your data labels, you turn on your data labels and then look at this here. It shows the amount here. So sometimes I really like to include data labels. So and another thing you could do is you could even determine the position of your data label. Do you want it to be outside end? Then it does this. If you want it to be inside base, then look at this. If you actually want it to be outside, yeah, but I just prefer it to, let's just leave it as auto, right? Or you just make it inside end like this, or you make it outside end like this. So let's just go with the auto, or I think, or inside center. Yeah, I think inside center looks fine. So you can even at the same time add color to the values. Do you want to make it let's say this color here, the values changes color, right? So you can play around with these as much as you like. So next is still here in formatting of your visuals. If you notice, there's a place where we call the bars, right? So you can as well give, this is the default color for each bar. So now let's show all. You can decide to put each color. You can give each of your item a different color. Like this now, we give this color. We can move to the next color here like this, and then we come over here, we give it a next color. You can just have different color to your bars, right? Or you could just give them one color. So I'm just going to undo this. I'm going to leave everything as blue. So another thing you could do is you may want to come over here to the title. You may want to edit your title. So you come under here to general. You can edit and then you could even give the color text color you want. You may want to use a green color, for instance, or you may want to use any sort of color. You could just do this to change the color. So but I'm just going to leave this, and I'm going to leave this for you to just play around with. So daily we can just publish this straight up, right? As in we're done with this report, we can do a lot of customization. Like I said, you can slicer settings, for instance, come to general here and you see effects. So you can decide to give it a color here, make it, give it a background color if you want. You can decide to even make your transparency. You can increase the percentage, and then you can see as you increase this, it becomes more clearer. So you can really feel free to play around with this particular formatting options that you have for your settings and even for your other visuals. So you can just publish, and once you publish it, do you want to save your changes? We say yes, and we click on publish. So this data has been published, and once you see it, it's going to select what workspace. We don't have a workspace yet because it's for this purpose, so we'll just select and publishing to Power BI services. And once this is done, we can open it on the web. You can see now. Let's open this on the web, and it opens on the web. So here we go in Power BI app. So here we go. The Power BI online services has opened, and we can see we can view all of our reports. And from this report, we can create a dashboard. So you can create a dashboard. How do you create a dashboard? It's just easy. You click on this three dots and you click on pin to a dashboard. And once you click on that, it's automatically creates a dashboard, and then it asks you, how do you want to create it? Do you want to create it as a new dashboard? Yeah, you said select the dashboard name. Let's say the rookie analyst dashboard. And once you have this dashboard, you can just pin it live. And once you pin this live, is going to appear in your workspaces as dashboard. You can see, and the beauty of this is you can even create a mobile layout. You can create a mobile layout for your dashboard. You can. So now let's click on go to dashboard. We click on go to dashboard now. It opens the dashboard for you. So that's it. Here you can see we have our Power BI report here, and then we have the dashboard that we've already pinned. So when you click this, we're going to see our dashboard. So our dashboard looks different from the Power BI report. You can see the report where you have all the where you can do all the editions, and all of those pins are no longer appearing. So this is a dashboard that you can share with people to just see. And the beauty of the dashboard is that it has a place here you said ask question about your data. So just imagine your ChatGPT in Power BI. You could just ask a question like total show you could just ask a question like what customer what customer name what customer name has the highest profit, for instance. And once you ask, it tells you the name automatically, Ali. So that's really cool about Q&A. You can also add this Q&A directly from the Power BI desktop. Yeah, one more thing I would like to show you in Power BI desktop before we go is this. So in your Power BI desktop, when you come over to Power BI desktop and you just double click on a blank plate, it's going to automatically prepare the Q&A that we already seen in the dashboard. So once it prepares a Q&A, you could just ask question. You can see ask question about your data. And when we go back to the Power BI services web, you could see that this is the same thing that you are seeing here. Ask a question about your data. So another thing is that you could even summarize. You could summarize this, for instance. You could just come over here and then you right click and then click on summarize, and then it's going to summarize this particular chart for you. So let's say to summarize this chart, let's take this one out and then you bring this out. So this gives summary for you about the particular chart, and then you could drag this up. You could drag this up and then you can even make it as a visual or a summary. So you could, assuming you want to just, yeah, you could just have this, and then you could give this a title. At 800 Pizza had the highest sum of the cost. So apart from the fact that you can make visuals from it, you can also deduce summary from a visual automatically. So this is a really cool feature, and that's that about the visualization in Power BI for beginners. There are more sophisticated things you're going to do, and stay tuned for the next lesson, which is DAX, and then our last part of it is going to be the dashboard in a day, where we're going to have a data set that we're going to start from beginning to the end. It's more like everything we've been doing in 1 hour or two. So thank you, and see you in the next lesson.